Detail, hand salute.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ready, two.
Will everyone please remain standing as I invite Monsignor Jamie Gigantiello to do the invocation.
Detail, uncover.
I think Joseph would be very happy today with this turnout. Let us put ourselves in the presence of our loving and merciful God. We come together in the spirit of thanksgiving, remembrance, and hope. We are thankful, God, for the gift of life, for the gift of family, for the gift of friends and faith. We thank you for sending us the brave women and men of the FDNY and EMF services, for their willingness to serve the people of our great city without counting the cost. We are most thankful today for the life of Joseph Maiello, for his dedication and unconditional love for his family, friends, fellow firefighters, and citizens of this great city. We thank you and ask your continued blessings upon Joseph's family, especially his wife, Irene, his children, Jake and Cecilia, his mom, Eileen, for their support and sacrifices that they made so that Joseph could be where God wanted him to be, saving lives. God, help all of us here today, all the members of the FDNY, the citizens of the city of New York, to never forget the heroic life of Joseph Maiello. And in this season of hope that we are still celebrating, may the life of Joseph continue to inspire us, all of us, and remind us all that there is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. May God bless Commissioner Kavanagh, Chief Hodges, the members of the FDNY, the city of New York, and may God bless the United States of America. Amen.
Detail, Rico.
Will everyone please be seated? Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. My name is Captain John Bruin of Ladder Company 83, and thank you for being here for this very special ceremony dedicated to the memory of our brother, Lieutenant Joseph Maiello, who was taken from us on December 26, 2021. I would like to take this time to introduce some members of our dais. Fire Commissioner Laura Kavanagh. Chief of Department John Hodgins. Ladies and gentlemen, please hold your applause while I introduce the remaining distinguished members of our FDNY dais. Assistant Commissioner of Family Assistance Evelyn Tesorero. Assistant Chief of Fire Operations Kevin Woods. Assistant Chief of Fire Operations Michael Galla, Jr. Manhattan Borough Commander Mike Agello. Queens Borough Commander Joseph Ferrante. Bronx Borough Commander John Sirocco. Staten Island Borough Commander Deputy Chief Brian Gorman. Deputy Assistant Chief of Fire Operations Michael Masucci. UFOA President James McCarthy. Staten Island UFA Trustee Eric Bischoff. Captain of Engine 163 Ralph Tallarico. And we also have some politicians that I'd like to acknowledge that are here today. District Attorney Michael McMahon. State Assemblyman Mike Riley. State Senator Jessica Spanton. State Assemblyman Sam Perizzolo. Good morning. City Councilman David Carr. Also want to acknowledge FDNY chaplain who did the invocation, Monsignor Jamie Gigantello. Now I'd like to take this time to introduce the members of the Maiello family who are here today. His wife Irene, his children Jake and Cecilia, his mother Eileen, his brother James, his sister Gina, as well as various members of family and friends that are here today. Thank you all for coming. At this time, I'd like to bring up our first speaker. I'm honored to introduce our Fire Commissioner, Laura Kavanagh.
Good morning, and thank you so much for being here. A special welcome to Lieutenant Maiello's family, his wife Irene, his two children, Jake and Cecilia, and to all the members here of Engine Company 163 and Ladder 83. Thank you for having us. I'm glad for that. It's hard to believe a year has passed since we lost Lieutenant Maiello. It's hard to believe this firehouse and our department have experienced 1 year without Joe. But it's important to note on these difficult occasions, when we show up for each other, we see an outpouring of love and support for our families. It is an opportunity for us to renew our sense of commitment to our community and to our fire department. We are given a chance to renew our commitment to our shared mission and, most importantly, to Joe's legacy. Joe was a dedicated public servant and a dedicated member of this community. He and his wife were both involved in making life better for people here on Staten Island, with Irene working for the borough president and Joe bravely serving here. Both shared a passion for showing up and helping out wherever was needed, and that passion endures today. Joe is missed by many in this community, by his friends here in the firehouse, and of course at home with his family every day. He is missed at every gathering, every holiday, and most especially in every typical moment on every typical day that has passed since we lost him. It has been an especially difficult year of loss for our department. And our ceremonies like this one are a way for us to make good on the promise to never, ever forget those that we have lost. We dedicate the plaque this morning to ensure Joe's name is forever a part of this firehouse and the FDNY. Our plaque dedications are a way to keep Lieutenant Maiello's memory alive, to tell a story, to share a memory, and to speak his name. My wish today is that all of us take a moment to do just that. Share a story, a time you laugh together, a memory that you cherish. And I also wish, in Joe's honor, that we strive to be more like him, steady, smiling, dedicated, and kind. And let this plaque serve as a permanent memorial, a constant reminder that he will always be with us and that his family will always be in our thoughts. Thank you again for coming, and once again, we vow to never forget Lieutenant Maiello. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, I'd like to bring up Chief of Department John Hodgins.
Good morning, everyone. It's a tremendous turnout, just an example of how much Joe was loved. Thank you, everybody, for coming. A special welcome to the Maiello family, his wife, Irene, son, Jake, and daughter, Cecilia, and all the Maiello family. Thank you for coming and being here today. Thank you to the members of Engine 163 and Ladder 83, who no doubt put in hard work preparing the firehouse for today's event. And the firehouse looks great, so kudos to the members of this firehouse. In the fire department, we talk a lot about remembering those who have left us. And unfortunately, that conversation happens more than we would like. We make a vow to never forget, and today, when we gather here for a plaque dedication for Lieutenant Maiello, we are making good on that promise. We are creating a lasting memorial for Joe so that everyone who visits this firehouse will know of the great man who once worked here. Regretfully, I did not know Joe personally. I heard some stories, and all of them painted a picture of a great man who was an exemplary firefighter and officer. He was loved by the troops for his effective leadership style. He no doubt passed the FDNY test, known throughout the department, which is, if you ask somebody that you met on the job if they knew Joe Maiello, their answer was always, yes, yeah, I know Joe. He's a good guy. And that says a lot in this department. Once you have that status, there's not too much you can do to lose it. So Joe was definitely known as one of the good ones. So that's just something that we do here in the department. By all accounts that I've heard, Joe was a family man, a community man, and he was dedicated to his job as a firefighter. He was always laughing, telling stories, quick with a smile and an insightful comment. He was someone who you could count on to help in times of need and who offered to help before you even knew you needed it. That's the kind of person Joe was, and that's who we remember today. The plaque with Joe's name on it will hang on the wall of this firehouse for as long as it is still standing. This plaque will be one of the reasons that Joe's memory lives on forever. The members of this firehouse all knew and loved Joe, as well as we have to acknowledge Engine 282 and Ladder 148, where Joe worked for 20 years. They all loved Joe as well. As members retire or get promoted, they will be replaced by new firefighters. These new members will no doubt notice the plaque on the wall and ask about Joe. And the firefighters will tell Joe stories, and so on, long after we have all moved on. In the FDNY, we say, never forget. And this is just one important way that we honor that promise. Today is a somber day, but one Joe would not want us to be sad about. Rather, we should remember him as the kind and generous man he was, the patient leader, the doting father and husband, and truly one of New York's bravest. That's how he would want us to remember him, and that's what we will do. Thank you all again for coming out today. God bless you. God bless the FDNY. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Hodgins. I'd now like to call up President of the Uniformed Fire Officers Association, James McCarthy, to say a few words.
Good morning, and we acknowledge that Commissioner Kavanagh and Chief Department Hodgins, all the commissioners and staff chiefs here, and we are honored to have the Maiello family here to share this moment with us, with the fire department. And, you know, as we've always said, you gained thousands of relatives now. We're going to be taking care of you. We're going to watch out for you for the rest of your life. And as much as we can, all the brothers and sisters here in the fire department will be looking out for you. I also didn't know Joe personally, but I've spoken to a lot of friends of mine that work with Joe, and I know about Joe. I know Joe because I met Joe 1,000 times. Not Joe Maiello, but I met that guy. He was a tremendous asset to the firehouse. He was a teacher before he became a firefighter, and he became a teacher once he became a firefighter, and then even into when he was an officer here after he was promoted. He was what we used to call the senior man. He was the guy that you went to get direction, to get policy, to move things along with the firehouse. He was the guy that got things done. So he was the man that did the most in the firehouse and made sure everything was done correctly. He was very committed to making sure the company was the best they could be, training and drilling and making sure they all took care of each other and the firehouse. But he also was the consummate family man. Even when Joe, as I'm told, when he had to work the holidays, the family used to come and visit him at the firehouse. So he made sure to stay connected with his family and make that an integral part of his life, which is certainly a testament to him and his relationships. He cared about the fire department, he cared about his family, and he was a man of service and giving. Even after he got promoted after a tremendous career, became a lieutenant here and came out to 83 Truck, he continued to give and teach and make sure that everybody was the best they could be and make sure the company was the best they could be. He was a teacher even in through his time here. And as Chief Hodgins talked about, one of the things that we have in the fire department is we never forget. We have a plaque dedication. We're going to put a plaque up on the wall here. And every time from now in perpetuity that somebody comes through the door, they're going to see Joe's name and they're going to be told about his stories and what he did and what he meant to this firehouse and every firehouse he worked in. That's what his legacy is going to be. They're going to teach him about Joe Maiello. They're going to teach him to be the best firefighters they can be. They're going to use him as an example to be the best officer for that company. So Joe will live in perpetuity here in this firehouse for everybody that comes through this door, everybody that knows anybody here, everybody that knows Joe throughout his career. You're going to keep them in your heart. Never forget, it's not a slogan, it's not a bumper sticker for us. It's a way of life. And that's what we do. We remember those, especially those that fallen in the line of duty and serve this department and the membership. So I want to say, God bless the Maiello family, God bless the fire department, and God bless Joe Maiello and everything he's done for the fire department. We can't say thank you enough. Thank you. We have a plaque for the Maiello family. The plaque reads, Lieutenant Joseph Maiello, Ladder Company 83, August 8th, 1999, December 26th, 2021. Everlasting tribute for the ultimate act of service from the Uniformed Fire Officers Association.
We would now like to call up New York State Assemblyman for the 63rd District, Sam Pirzolo.
Good morning, everyone. Today is a bittersweet day for us. Maybe it happens a little too often. It's bitter in the fact that the reason we're here is because of the passing of a loved one, a husband, a father, and a family member, and a community member. It is sweet in the fact that this is really a celebration of Lieutenant Maiello's life. Lieutenant Maiello is a father to his children, Jake and Cecilia, a wife to Irene, and to the rest of his family and this community. He served this community and a community in Brooklyn. So it is in that sense of celebration that I would wish to present this citation to Irene, Jake, and Cecilia. And if I may, this is a citation from the New York State Assembly. Whereas the state of New York takes great pride in recognizing and honoring those individuals who selflessly dedicate themselves to inspiring others and improving their community. And whereas one such individual was Joseph Maiello, a member of the New York Fire Department. Joseph was a graduate of Xavier High School in Brooklyn, attended Brooklyn College, and earned his bachelor's degree from Brooklyn Tech. Whereas Joseph is a former teacher at PS 205 in Brooklyn, New York. Joseph was inspired by his parents to become a teacher who were both educators. Joseph later volunteered at PS 30 in Westerly when his children attended school there. And whereas Joseph joined the FDNY in August of 1999 and was an active member of the fire department for over 22 years. He spent most of his career working between Ladder 148, Engine 282, and in Brooklyn, and Ladder Company 83 in Westerly. And whereas Joseph was a dedicated family man, Joseph and his wife, Irene, have raised their two children, Jake, Cecilia, in Westerly, New York. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Assemblyman Sam Pirozzolo, along with the citizens of the 63rd Assembly District, recognize the duty and sacrifice of Joseph Maiello, and as he is honored for his service and commitment to his community and the great state of New York, dated today, January 7, 2023. So we look forward to his future, not necessarily through his past actions, but through his wife and through his two children. So Lieutenant Maiello does have a future within this community. So thank you very much, Irene.
Now I'd like to call up Lieutenant Joseph Maiello's good friend from Ladder 148, Firefighter Vincent Cork.
Good morning, everyone. Bear with me because, ironically enough, I left my glasses at home. And it was funny. It was after so many years of working with Joe. Remember one morning I came down in the kitchen, and Joe was sitting there, and all of a sudden he had glasses on. I never saw him with reading glasses. And, thanks, Chief. And sitting there reading the paper and doing a Sudoku puzzle. I started calling him Grandpa. And he said, Vincenzo, one day you'll get this. So he's got the last laugh right now. April of 2005 is when I started my career on 12th Avenue. Not knowing exactly what to expect when I arrived in the firehouse for my first tours, I did what was told to me in the academy. Keep busy, learn your rig, and ask questions. It was probably my third or fourth tour, day tour, and everyone was upstairs doing committee work. And I'm making my way into the office to make the bunk, mop the bathroom, when the tones go off. And I drop the mop, slide the pole, I start nervously getting my gear on. I'm ready to go, and I look around, and not a single person is in sight. There's absolutely no one else getting dressed. It's completely quiet, except for the muffled chuckling coming from the house watch. I could see this guy watching me, giggling like Barney Rubble. Nice turnout, Cork. Completely confused, my heart racing. He said, "You didn't hear the tones go off?" I said, "That was Captain Gallow's ringtone, you dope." Joe came over to me, gave me a few pats on the shoulder, said, "Welcome to 12th Avenue." Every firehouse has a diverse group of members. It's the beauty of this job. We got to work with all different characters, with different backgrounds, different personalities, different skill sets, all with different life experiences. Every house has the comedian, the finance guru, the plumber, electrician, loud one, the quiet one, the huge closet buff, the one who thinks they know everything, the bachelor, newlywed, the exhausted new parent, the one who shows up late and thinks showing up 5 minutes to the hour he's getting there early, the clean one, the messy one, etc. And then we also have the senior man, the quiet leader, the guy that members, both firefighters and officers, turn to for advice about something in the firehouse, the guy whose opinion you trust, not just because of time on the job, but based on the example they lead, based on their life experience, based on character, a good moral compass, family values. It was respect that was earned. That was Uncle Joe. He knew this job inside and out in every facet. He knew how to operate on the fire ground, and he did it very well. Even more so, he knew how a firehouse operated and what the foundation of this job was, what keeps this the absolute greatest job on this planet, tradition. You know, I got on the job years after 9/11, and there's something that can't even be put into words about the members who experienced that day. You just know it when you're around them. They have this quiet yet loud aura that surrounds them. Their personal experiences are something that I couldn't even fathom, but it's written all over them in their actions and words, in the bond they share, in their company pride, in their stories, how they remain humbled. When they speak, you listen more closely. When they give advice, you take it with more weight. And when they train you, it feels more like a life lesson. Joe was a junior guy during that time, and from that day forward, the department was never the same. After losing so many members, it forced a greater responsibility among guys like Joe to become leaders overnight. Joe was one of many members that became a bridge sort of between the older generation FDNY and the newer generation FDNY that I'm part of. He was groomed by the old school. He preached the tradition of this job all the time and how important it is to keep that alive. And he did it by his actions, by his example, by the immense company pride he had on 12th Avenue. He showed us through simple lessons: show up to events, pick up tours for the brothers and sisters in other firehouses, look out for one another and for each other's families in times of need. He stressed the importance of Sundays being for sauce and raviolis, not corned beef. And we all followed his lead. He never screamed at the kitchen table. He never had to, because we respected him. I'll never forget when I was a probie, a little after maybe, I approached him about a situation I wasn't sure how to go about. And he said to me, "If you have to ask, I think you already know the answer. Just do the right thing," he would say. And that annoyed me more than anything, because he didn't steer me in a direction I wanted to hear. But I realized later on he was smart. Not only did he give sound advice, basically saying trust my gut, but he removed himself as being liable for the bad decision I could potentially make. He taught me how to be a chauffeur, not just the stuff we learn in chauffeur school or in the books. He taught from his experience the little intricacies of being a good chauffeur, from rig placement on specific streets or buildings in our area, ideal routes, giving transmissions, timing, how to be heads up, the importance of being a gentleman with surrounding companies, keeping a close eye on junior members on calls, even down to the art of wrangling up the members to get out of the firehouse and get the meal. All parts of the position and the job, but Joe taught me these things. I worked with Joe my entire career. It wasn't until my last couple of years when I became a seated chauffeur that we became 24 partners. Irene, I sincerely apologize for any grief that I may have caused. Over the course of our time as partners, we naturally talked more, setting up our schedule, getting to know things going on in each other's lives. It became even clearer than ever how important his family was to him. He always had stories about family vacations, road trips, events going on with Irene, Cecilia, and Jake, and his friends. Family was everything to Joe. His family and friends were number one, and the fire department was a close second. And somewhere down the line on that list was the soda machine in the firehouse. It was either Joe's baby and his love or the bane of his existence. It was a love-hate relationship he had with that thing. We never spared an opportunity to let him know that either. We always had to find a key, open it up, take our drink, leave $1 in the collection bin. Junk, Kieran would always yell at him. And Joe loved nothing more than when guys paid in quarters. He absolutely loved it. Watching him take out the collection bin to count the singles and he'd hear the heavy rattle of coins, his face would turn red. Joe, I know you're listening, and I'm sorry. I had rolls of quarters in my cubby solely for that soda machine. I was blessed to run into Joe about a month or so before he passed. I saw him at the Rock. I could tell from about 200 feet away it was him, walking on the sidewalk with his hands in his pockets. I pulled over, and we chatted for a bit, and we caught up. He sounded happy, and he sounded hopeful. He had great things to say about his new firehouse in 163 and 83. And as expected, we talked about our families, how everyone was doing. And I broke his chops seeing him with a lieutenant shirt on. It looked weird. It always does when you work with someone for so long, but it suited him. You know, I'd give anything to extend that conversation, give him a bigger hug, you know, before we said see you later. Well, I'd just like to say how grateful all of us on 12th Avenue have been, past and present, have been able to have the privilege of working with Joe and having him be a part of our lives. We all miss him tremendously. We love you, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you, Firefighter Cork. I'd now like to bring up Joe's wife, Irene, to say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. Jake, Cecilia, and I want to thank you all for coming out today to honor Joe. We would do anything to have Joe here with us, but unfortunately, we know that's not the plan. I wish you were here in person to share some of his insightful thoughts. If you knew Joe, no further explanation is needed. To all of our FDNY family, especially the active and retired members of Ladder 83, Engine 163, and Ladder 148, Engine 282, we can never thank you enough for all that you've done for us in the past year. Our family will be forever grateful for the brotherhood and kindness you displayed and continue to do so. This is not the first time that our family has been on the receiving end of the generosity of the FDNY family. I know some of you know of our long extended trip to Arizona in 2005 with Jake here, so we were not at all surprised but humble regardless. We have been very fortunate to come across so many wonderful people during our time at the Broadway YMCA, PS30, and IS-51, and our Westerly neighborhood. Each person in their own way has rallied around us when Joe passed away. Many who over the years have become some of our closest friends, part of our village. They have been there for us through thick and thin. Their families have become our families. I would also like to thank Jake and Cecilia's current school community, St. Peter's Boys High School and Notre Dame Academy. To the friends who came into our life from childhood, work, and other avenues, in one way or another, each one of you has showed your never-ending love and support for the kids and I always. To the new friends we made this past year, thank you so much for unexpected kindness. And at this point, Joe was looking down from heaven, thinking one of his insightful thoughts. Great. She expanded the friend circle even more. More people for the Christmas list. Noting that this was his chore to stuff the envelopes when I was at work, and he would complain while doing it. And his other favorite was getting the crates of decorations from the attic each holiday. I really like to decorate. I know he was smirking this past December when some of Santa's elves came to our house to put up the icicle lights, because he didn't have to do it. I do know he always appreciated it, though, because after all the fuss, he always complimented how nice the decorations looked. To our family, the ones that I am related to by blood, and the family that I'm fortunate to have married into, During your own grief, you never waived your love and support for Jake, Cecilia, and I. This is a family who helps, supports, and always cares. It's been a surreal year, and when Jake had needed to have emergency eye surgery in April, I truly thought I was going to finally lose it. I have often been told I'm a strong person this past year. I wish I felt half as strong as I appear. If not for the continued support system during this time, I don't know if I would have made it this far. It also helps that I'm blessed with two children who truly are thoughtful, who have been doing their best to navigate through it all, while making sure that all special occasions are covered and unlimited hugs are given always. This is going to be a big milestone year for our family, and something Joe and I have been looking forward to. I will be turning 50 this month, Jake 18 at the end of the month, Cecilia 16 in September. Jake will be graduating high school in June, and Joe and I would have been married 20 years in September. When Joe got promoted, I gave him the nickname Lieutenant Sonny, as in S-U-N-N-Y, because whenever he became cranky over the years at home and was heading to work in Borough Park, I would always say, please be sure to share the sunshine with the boys at 12th Avenue. I wish he was here now, spreading his sunshine and able to be a part of all this in person. At this time, I need to give special thanks to everyone at the FDNY Family Assistant Unit and Ceremonial Unit. You all go above and beyond. I also like to thank the NYPD, the FDNY Honor Legion, Answer the Call Foundation, the Silver Shield Foundation, First Responders Children's Foundation, the Sergeant Donald Knopf Foundation, and to all those elected officials in attendance, and last but not least, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Before I give my closing, I ask you to please continue to keep in your thoughts and prayers the family of firefighter Billy Moon. They are in the same place we were a year ago, and that is something I would not wish on anybody. A dear friend said it best. It takes a lot of courage to dig deep and tell yourself that you're going to get through another day. And thankfully, they have the support of the FDNY family, their extended family and friends, to see them through all. I will close with this saying, those we love don't go away. They will walk beside us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near, still loved, always missed, and forever dear. Till we meet again, Joey, because literally, it ain't easy.
Thank you. Thank you, Irene. We will now commence with the dedication of the plaque.
Dedicated to the memory of Lieutenant Joseph Maiello, Ladder Company 83, who made the supreme sacrifice while in the performance of duty, operating at Staten Island Box 1391, December 26, 2021. May all who read this plaque be reminded of the supreme sacrifice that Joseph made, but also be reminded that we are not remembered in life by how much we receive, but by how much we give. Amen.
Detail Rico. Everyone, please rise. Detail and salute. Ready, two.
Please be seated. Before we conclude today, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Captain Ron Perez, the Executive Officer of the 120 Precinct, and the Patrol Borough of Staten Island for all their help in today's event. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Fire Commissioner, Chief of Department, other members of the dais, we want to thank you for attending today's very special ceremony. What a terrific show of love and support for our brother, Lieutenant Joseph Maiello. Rest assured, Irene, he will never, none of us will ever forget him. This concludes today's plaque dedication ceremony. Thank you all for coming. Have a great day.